the beginning of the journey is always a little difficult. So much of adulation is there around them, and suddenly you are saying action cut to them. Deep and dark web is a real problem now. If the police had facial recognition acing it, half of the cases are solved. I think the first week Nani sir also gave me a little bit of a pep talk.
Hi Sailesh.
Hi Sangeeta garu.
Big congratulations for Hit 3.
Thank you.
What's your state of mind right now? Is it a mix of relief, happiness, gratitude?
I think it's a mix of all emotions, I should say.
Okay.
But first thing is I caught up with some sleep for the last couple of days, because it's been a couple of months I slept properly. Like I've been surviving on a 1 hour, 2 hour sleep cycle.
Okay.
Just sleeping in cars and stuff like that, because I've been like around the studios most of the times, making sure that I give the best for the, for the movie during the post. That's why I didn't go out anywhere also during promotions and stuff. So after the film release, I just till afternoon I saw how the vibe was. Went home at 4 o'clock in the evening and woke up the next day at 9 in the morning.
Okay.
So caught up with good sleep.
This is also one film where I think you decided that let the work speak for itself rather than you promoting it before the release, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, because I felt that's how it should be. And also with Nani sir taking care of all promotional activities and stuff, I didn't have any pressure of even having to go out and do anything. So there was just one team interview that I sat through, which was for 20 minutes. That's the only promotions that I was a part of.
Okay.
Rest I thought the work should speak this time. Yeah.
But did you go out to the theatres, sit along with the audience and just experience the whole
Yes.
reception?
So Prasads I watched the morning 8 o'clock show. Then I just sneaked into Sudarshan without letting anybody know. Stood in the last row, looked at all the reactions and stuff. And last night we did a few theatre visits with the team.
Okay.
Yeah. So very good response everywhere, and people are enjoying the film.
Okay.
Which is a great thing. It's great to see the theatre energy back.
Yeah.
There's so many people storming to the theatres and watching the film. It feels so satisfying to watch full theatres and full auditoriums on a Friday night. Since we released the movie on Thursday, we were expecting on Friday we might not have full halls, but surprisingly every show was full, and wherever we visited there was only energy. So now it's only going to be up from here, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, when you work on a film for about a year or more, you're too close to the material from the writing process till the post-production and giving the final product.
Correct. Yeah.
But once when the complete film is ready and you watch the final product, are you able to critically evaluate it, or does it take some time to distance yourself from it and look at what else you could have done?
I think critically evaluated, we lose the objectivity midway.
Yeah.
I think we're so married to the content that we shoot. Midway itself we kind of start losing the objectivity. So and then it's only after that, we always rely on for what did we start, what was the intention of starting this film, what did we want to do with this film. We always go back to that first meetings that we had, what excitement did we have. That's what keeps us going towards what we are preparing for the final copy. So
okay.
But again, it comes down to whether are we enjoying the film or not when we see it. Is done. So to facilitate that disconnection only, sometimes we don't see the film for a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Again, go back and watch it in one full flow to see what it is doing. It is a very tricky space that you. But with me, I guess what happens is I'm pretty good with understanding what is not working in the film. I have that ability to actually spot if something is not working. I can actually spot it very easily.
Okay.
So that is one exercise that I do when I watch the film in repeat viewings anywhere. If I feel something is not working, then I start discussing with the team, because it's always once you reach that spot, a lot of discussions happen, because if I'm feeling something, I always want to reconfirm with my team to make sure that what I'm feeling is is what they're also feeling at some point in time. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, before even we discuss the film in detail, tell me about what it is like to be a fanboy of actors that you direct, because whether it was Venkatesh sir in Saindav and then Nani in Hit 3, you are huge fans of both of them, right?
Yeah.
So that fanboy and the director, how do both these personalities work together?
It is a little, I think the beginning of the journey is always a little difficult.
Okay.
Because you are just on the set and you start directing them. Suddenly it's very overwhelming, because somebody whom you admire and so much of adulation is there around them, and suddenly you are saying action cut to them. it gets a little tricky to kind of judge whether, you know, is there a bias? You wouldn't know it in the first few days. Then after that, I think you start telling yourself that I told myself that no, there is a bigger job at hand and the guy has trusted me with it. So all the fanboy stuff should be packed at home and then come to the set and do the director's job properly. So I think the first week Nani sir also gave me a little bit of a pep talk, and you know, he kind of in the initial days I used to treat him like my star, but that disappeared after a week.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a difficult job, but I think people like me who get an opportunity to direct their stars, I think they will go through it in the first few days. But I think we should cross that and start directing them. That's when we actually do justice to the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, for me it took about a week's time. Yeah.
In the film, I think there are a couple of dialogues where that fanboy moment shows through in some dialogues, right?
Which one did you think?
The one is where there's a reference to Arjun Sarkar's actions as class, and then he says, I'll show you my real self. And the other one is about you cannot survive here. He says, నా కెరియర్ ముందు నుంచి నేను ఇది వింటున్నాను. So those two moments work very well for the film. But when you write a film, how do you decide, okay, this is where I'm going to do those fanboy moments and this is where I'm going to hold back?
We don't really think like that. I guess those two dialogues also came in because the situation was like that. I didn't write those dialogues and find a moment to put it in the script.
Okay.
As I was writing it, I felt that, hey, this is a great opportunity for me to do something meta, and then suddenly the dialogue will come in. It's just a fun space that we take, you know. So those were the two opportunities that I had, and I incorporated something there which I felt would be, you know, those kind of dialogues always evoke a very great response in the auditorium because it holds good for the star who is on the screen as well as the character who is playing that moment. So those were the only two moments that I had. So I thought it's a great opportunity to do it. Yeah.
Okay. See, both Hit 1 and Hit 2, everybody knows. I mean, you've said this often that, you know, you had like a book where you wrote down a few real life crime incidents and then the stories were inspired by that.
Correct.
Hit 3 refers to like a dark web and a secret organization. There's a reference to something like BTK passingly in the film, though the actual organization here is CTK.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? Now, has there been a real life reference as well for this film?
Oh, there are a lot of cult groups operating on the dark web. It is a real thing. It's just that we as common people, we don't come across them, but there are a lot of groups who operate on dark web like this, who bond over dark web and stuff. And I have done extensive research with the cyber team here in Hyderabad.
Okay.
They've been very kind enough to let me into the facility and show me certain things, and it is definitely happening right now, rampantly happening around the world. There's nothing you cannot do on, you know, on dark web. Deep and dark web is a real problem now, and these the existence of a group who is operating like that may be a little exaggerated in the film, but it is definitely very relevant and happening currently in our society.
And it's also inspired by, say, a whole lot of groups and not just one particular group?
Yeah, not one particular group. I'm not like, it is a fictional thing only what I wrote.
Okay.
But I'm saying the problems on deep and dark web, the kind of stuff that we spoke about in the film, it's very happening right now. Yeah.
Because after that BTK reference, I went and looked up on BTK, but that's a different incident. I think it's like one serial killer.
Correct.
And they took 30 years to nab him or something like that.
Yeah. So it's a bind, torture, kill is a serial killer in the US in the 1970s. He used to have a very specific way of killing people. Remained as an enigma for a very long time. Took almost 3 decades to crack him down. So yeah, that's...
Okay. Okay, you know, 2 protagonists so far in this hit universe. First was Vikram Rudraraju, Vishwak's character. He had PTSD.
Correct.
And now Arjun Sarkar has something like a midlife crisis going on, right? So these kind of personality traits make them a little more human, a little more vulnerable, isn't it?
Right.
Now, when you write it, what is it that you want your heroes to be? I mean, do you want them to be having that slight vulnerability so that there is a chance that they might fail?
Yeah, it just makes them more relatable. I feel like you know, when you write a cop character that has certain vulnerabilities which are very similar to what the common people have in their lives, you tend to not alienate them too much, because the moment you say he's a cop and he's solving the big crimes, they tend to become a little alien to the audience. By giving them these kind of vulnerabilities, I believe that the audience start believing that, hey, he's also like us, like, you know.
Okay.
So once that small ownership happens there, I guess they dwell much deeper into the story, and they try to connect to the audience, is what my belief is.
Okay.
And that is why by giving hypertension to Sarkar, or giving like anxiety attacks and panic attacks to Vikram Rudraju, or a little bit of unwanted sarcasm to KD, it's all like, you know, it all comes down to making them more relatable, making them more enjoyable is the idea. Yeah.
And I like the fact that you didn't spoon feed too much about Sarkar's backstory itself. Right. You know that he has a strained relationship with his father. Yeah. He looks up to his grandfather, only the photo we see, and a passing reference of a name. Yeah. And then, you know, he misses his mother that much, but not too much. Yeah. So that also comes from a place of you knowing that your audience will grasp even if you just give them a little bit, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I would have dwelled into the backstory of Arjun Sarkar if it had changed the course of my story. But I feel that doesn't change the course of the story. So to know the gist of it is enough for me. Why I'm saying all that is so that people connect to him at an emotional level and understand that he also has a human side. He's not this cold-hearted, cop who doesn't have any emotions. The guy breaks down. The guy has emotions. The guy has relationships and happening in his life. It's just that it is not like ours. Yeah. But he does feel something, is what even if it is about that small baby, when he just passes, he puts his hand on the baby and goes, we know that he has a soft corner for children, but we don't show it so much. It is just enough to understand that he's also a human being. He's also like us, but he just shows it in a different way. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now see, unlike Hit 1 and Hit 2, which were very, like say, I would almost call them like textbook kind of like a crime novel kind of a whodunit format, right? Here you have the first half which goes in that kind of a format, and then it becomes like a larger action kind of a different kind of a world, coming together of two different worlds. How happy are you with the way you amalgamated, say, two very different things into this film?
I'm very happy, Sangeeta. This is exactly what we wanted to do in the beginning when we set out to make Hit 3. This is exactly what we wanted, to bring the audience in and make them sit down and say that, hey, you're in the Hit universe, but we are going to take it to a next level and make it into something which is much more theatrical for you guys to enjoy. So that I wanted the transition to be very seamless, so that you don't feel a jarring effect of you walk into the theater and suddenly you find that Hit is not Hit anymore. It's not like that. So I wanted to very seamlessly take them into the world of HIT 3, show them all the investigation that goes behind cracking this group of people. And once you enter into that space is where the gears will shift and it becomes a survival thriller, and everything becomes very theatrical, very cinematic experience for you guys to sit down and just enjoy what is unfolding. That is how we planned HIT 3 as well. And
there are a few things I want to ask you about HIT 3 itself. Tell me about what went through your mind and what was the decision itself. I'll begin with Mickey J. Mayer's background score. Unconventional is how I would describe it, because it's not like the usual things where you can expect that this is where the highs will come and this is where it will be underplayed. What were the discussions between the two of you?
The brief that I gave Mickey sir was, I want the audience to be at the edge of the seat and go berserk whenever there is a theatrical moment. And rest of the movie, I want the background score to do its job. I don't want it to stand in the front and shout that, hey, I'm here. I believe in that.
So it shouldn't preempt the emotion.
Absolutely. And also I feel that if you're watching a scene, if you're watching a film, this is me as a filmmaker, it's my preference. People might differ from this, but I feel a background music is supposed to do what it is supposed to do. It should not be very frontal. Other than the spaces where it needs to be frontal. So I feel if you watch a movie and if there is a certain amount of storytelling being done there, I want you to enjoy the scene as a wholesome package. I don't want you to say that music is great, or if somebody comes out and says, hey, BGM was amazing, it is kind of a failure, because as a complete experience you have not immersed them as a movie. So the most preferred thing for me to come out and say I enjoyed the film. If they say that, it means that everything has worked together to give them that seamless experience, is what I believe in. So that was what I told Mickey sir as well. I told, do what is required for the film to feel very edge of the seat, very new age, And when a theatrical moment comes in, I want my audience to whistle and I want my audience to get up and shout for my star. So I believe that he delivered what was asked of him, and he delivered it in a very nice way, is what I believe. Because unconventional is what I also believe the score had become. Very percussion driven, very rhythms driven. Not a regular score that you will be experiencing in a Telugu film is what I felt it was.
Okay. I think during the pre-release interview that all of you did together, Nagendra sir was saying that for the second half, where the production design was concerned, for that entire space where the antagonists are, they are all dwelling there. There's a backstory behind that, how he conceived that place and all that. Now that the film is out, tell us a little bit about what is that backstory? How did he envision that and think that, who are these people and where did they live and what happened over there?
No, basically in the film also we have told what's the backstory of this place. When the antagonist actually explains the protagonist about the place, when Nani says fancy, looking at the place, he explains him the backstory of that place.
Oh yeah, right.
Basically, if you see that there are 3 layers of detailing in every frame, if you see. So this is essentially a palace which was a 150-year-old Burmese riverside palace that was probably used by a few kings at that point in time, because it is so close to Burma and northeast mein hai. Which then later became a hospital is what we told. And then after that the hospital also shut down and nobody is using this place, and that is why these people are going there and using the space is the backstory of it. So if you see every single frame, there are 3 layers of detailing in every frame. One looks like very ruins from the king's time. The other layer looks a little newer than that, like you will see steel ramps, you will see a lot of hospital scrap, you will see a lot of hospital boards and stuff which seem a little more contemporary than the ruins layer that you have. With ruins are basically the dilapidated walls and all that. And then you will see the current layer that these group of people have made shift. So you will see broken pillars and you will see wood bamboos connecting the pillars to keep the structure intact. You will see steps which are dilapidated and you will see bamboos which are put on that. A boxing ring that has been constructed. All this you will see, it is very newly constructed wooden structures. So if you actually stop the frame at any point in time and see, you will see these 3 layers in there. So that's the kind of work that we put in.
I think these are the finer details that one would notice more and more on repeat viewing.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you go the second time, viewers will definitely appreciate these kind of detailings. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about a few other points which everybody has raised. I'm bringing this up because in the first film there was not much of a loophole kind of a thing. We were also thinking along with the Vishwak's team and thinking that who would have committed this crime and what would be their motive and all that. There were not many loose ends, if I can say so. So when Arjun Sarkar enters this kind of a place, which is like a big hideout, there's not much of a check that he goes through. That is one thing which I think some people pointed out. And the other thing is, they said, how come the antagonist did not know that Arjun Sarkar is a cop? Now, my reasoning would be that, see, HIT team is like something, I think they work in the background. We are focusing on it, but is it like some kind of a group which is not like the mainstream police for you to come on the database?
See, generally I want my films to be very self-explanatory, but I will still tell you what, and I've seen a few people asking me the question, but see, what happens is, you have a photograph of this guy, okay? In India, you don't have facial recognition. If the judicial, if the police had facial recognition acing it, half of the cases are solved. Because if you have a photograph of a person who is not a celebrity, you can't really put it anywhere and find out who this guy is or who that person is. In abroad, you have a certain amount of facial recognition available. Those facilities are available. In India, you don't even have a good database of DNAs. If in a crime scene, if you find blood that is not belonging to the victim, probably be a perpetrator's blood, you still cannot find out whose DNA it is, because we don't have that database yet. The biggest database that we have is of Aadhaar card, and the most we can get is fingerprints out of it, and that also, like, not perfect, like partial matches and stuff. So it is definitely great that people are asking these questions, because it shows that they are invested in the film. at the same time we do a lot of research on this before we go ahead and shoot it, because it's a very basic detail. If we don't crack this and go ahead and shoot a film, I would have to answer 100 people on the set. There are, you know, but this was discussed, and the point is, what you said is also right. If Arjun Sarkar is working for HIT in Kashmir, the department would make sure that he's not well exposed, because these are the people who would want to camouflage among the public and find out. Even in Hit 1 we have said they grow beards for that reason. I have set up the rules for this organization, saying that they grow beards because they can very easily camouflage themselves among the people. So they are not someone whose photographs will be out there. Even though there was a huge protest that happened on his name, there wouldn't have been a lot of photographs of him from the press, because you don't see press also dealing with Arjun Sarkar anywhere in the film. So it is a character which was not out there in limelight. Point number one. Point number two, even if they had the photograph of him, they cannot go back and do a reverse search and find out who the person is.
Okay.
Because most of the criminals, CCTV footage, the police have their face, but you can't just simply find out where this guy is and who this guy is. That facility is not still available in India.
Okay.
Even in countries like US also, there is only certain amount of facial recognition available right now. Yeah.
Okay, the one point which I had a doubt was, like, you know, I would attribute it to creative license, but then it didn't sit well when I watched it.
Okay.
I've seen it only once.
Okay.
So when there's a little twist about Mridula's character, which is revealed later, right?
Right.
Srinidhi's character.
Okay.
No, so you're taking that liberty to show the origins of where that comes from, from the academy where she studied. How is it that somebody like Arjun Sarkar, who's supposed to have very good observation skills, not notice her at all?
Hey, I'll give you my example.
Okay.
I'm a lecturer.
Okay.
Okay, I was a lecturer for about 9 years.
Okay.
I would have taught probably 4 classes per semester, so that is like 8 classes per year, 8 classes of people per year, and that's like about easily like about in an year I'm looking at about 8 classes of people with 100 of them in there. Okay. And so counted over a period of 10 years if I had taught, so that's like how many people? Okay. And in that, to remember one face, it's impossible. I don't remember my students' faces except for the very bright ones that I probably interact with here and there. I don't remember the faces. It's extremely difficult to remember. And this guy doesn't full-time work nahi karta hai wo. He's a guest lecturer. She says that you have come here to give me a guest lecture she says it.
Yeah.
You come to give a guest lecture karke. So if you are a guest lecturer going there once in a year, probably twice in a year, and for a class of 100 people, you really think that he will remember? Because she's Srinidhi Shetty, for you are remembering.
Okay.
If I am a lecturer, I wouldn't even remember anything. First of all, the lights are on, and I'll be teaching something, and you wouldn't even see their faces when you are teaching them. You are very focused about driving your point through to the students. Being a lecturer, I can say that.
Okay.
Even Sukumar sir would maybe confirm that. He is also a lecturer. You should ask him if he remembers his students' faces. I'm sure he won't.
Okay. Tell me about the choice of the antagonist, because it's an unconventional choice, I would say. I'm not going to reveal the name right now because a lot more people are going to watch it.
Of course, yeah.
It's not like a very macho kind of a Bollywood actor who's brought into Telugu cinema, right? I thought it worked very well for the film. There were some people who felt that why him, why not somebody else? Tell me about your casting decision.
I like that actor a lot, yeah. I mean, I also wanted an unconventional choice only for the antagonist, because it'll be so... For me to bring a very macho kind of a guy and put him there would make it very obvious. And I was trying to do something that, even the way he receives Arjun Sarkar when he comes into the place, he's an extremely sweet guy. He's like, he welcomes him very nicely and he's very warm to him. But you see his nature unfold as and when you keep going in, is when you start seeing his darker side unfold.
Okay.
And you kind of are left with, I wanted you to be left with a question of, hey, why is this guy like this? Which is never addressed in the film, because I felt it was irrelevant to know why he became like that.
Okay.
Because there are 150 people there, whose backstory will you dwell into, and what can justify this behavior?
Nothing justifies.
Nothing justifies that behavior. So what's the point of knowing it,
Okay.
And most serial killers, whom we have seen, we don't know why they're doing it. Like the notorious Dahmer, the most watched Netflix show as well. If you see, the first thing that he asked the police when he surrendered is, "Can you help me find out why I am like this?" Most people don't even know. It is their urge to do and they do it. So I felt that kind of a treatment to the character needed an unconventional choice of, going for an actor like that. And that is why we went, yeah.
Okay. Is Vikram Rudraraju still on a sabbatical? You didn't want to bring him in for a cameo?
No, I felt there was no, for one of the officers, we had a solid reason to bring him back, which is like coming as a backup.
Yeah.
Now it would be too much of a stretch for me to say both the officers had come in as a backup and, save the day. That would be a little, already it is a little bit of pushing the cinematic liberty and giving that experience to the audience. But I'm saying bringing all of them together in one frame, although would have been amazing, I want to save it for
a later edition.
Absolutely, no, because if I give off all the thrills and funs in this episode, what do I have for the I'm saying that I want to save that image of all people coming in together for my last outing in HIT.
Yeah.
So I felt that one cop coming in to save the day would be a much more better way to deal with it rather than having everybody coming in and doing that.
So do you have like a story outline and everything ready for the fourth case?
No, fourth I know how what the case is going to be and what the treatment is going to be.
Okay.
But apart from that, I haven't really sat down and written the written the screenplay of it as such. So I'll be doing that now. I'm going back to Sydney in another 1 month or so. I'll just sit there.
Okay.
Very calmly for the next few months. I'm going to sit down and focus on my writing. That's the plan.
Because the actor that you've chosen for the fourth edition, the bilingual actor, he's been a part of some kick-ass cop dramas already.
Yeah.
So I think the bar would go up a little more.
It should.
Yeah.
The job only gets more and more. Last time also we discussed,
Yeah.
After hit 2, we thought that hit 3 has to be some other level. I didn't know what I was doing at that time.
Okay.
I think I'm just going with the flow wherever life is taking me.
Okay.
I'm just going with the flow and things seem to be working for the hitverse, which is a great thing.
So what's next immediately? Are you going to take a break from the hit universe?
From the hitverse, yeah. I mean, my immediate next will not be in the hitverse. Obviously, I want to do something very different from what I've been doing. Maybe a rom-com, I don't know. Maybe something which is very light-hearted, that doesn't have blood and gore in it.
Okay.
Something that is very fun, something that is... A lot of people are saying, looking at Sarkar and Mrudula's love story that was included in the film. A lot of people have been telling me I should do a full-fledged love story. I've been wanting to do it for a very long time.
I see.
But it's just that I didn't have the opportunity to sit down and write something solid. I think now I will, since I'm going back on a writing spree. I'll have the time to do it.
That might be a welcome departure from the whole thing, and then you can approach this universe with a very fresh mind.
Absolutely, with a very fresh mind. Yeah, exactly. That's the idea. Let's see how that unfolds.
All right. All the best for the next few days. The film is going great guns.
Thank you. Yeah. It's amazing that people are coming to the theaters. It was very needed. Now it feels very happy that producers and distributors who are not related to this film also are calling us and saying it is a much needed boost at this point in time. And Nani and I have been so happy that we could deliver it at this time. It's very important for our Telugu film industry is what they are saying. Feels very happy actually to know that. Yeah.
Thanks, Sailesh. Thanks for this. And we'll try to put this out without too many spoilers.
Yeah, that will be very nice. Yeah, thank you. Always a pleasure talking to you, Sangeeta.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.